they have one up here and one down here. So that's Ranchos. And this is between building 4 and 3. The architecture and the lighting and the little. This is going to take you over to the Cabanas. I love that they have sandy beaches. Good morning and welcome back to Jolly Garden Travel. Today is the checkout day. So I just wanted to kind of walk you through a little bit of Coronado so you can see the grounds and also compare the village to the tower. It is a little confusing because some people think you're booking Coronado, so they just assume they're going to be in the tower or vice versa. So I just wanted to go over some of those pros and cons to both locations. So if this interests you, please stick along or please stick around. Sorry about my appearance. It's morning. I'm checking out and I just need to get this taken care of just so I can show it to you guys. So I am in Casitas building number 4, which is technically considered preferred. There's pros and cons to this. In consideration, it's close to a bus stop, number 2, which in turn picks up first, drops off first. That's great. When it comes to walking to the main building to get coffee, you're going to see it is a little bit of a walk. However, it's not horrible. This is a standard view room, so I am overlooking the parking lot. So I'm going to give you a look at that now. So as you can see, building 4, this is the back. This is a standard view room in Casitas. And the first bus stop, number 2, is right behind my building. Now, in order to get toward the front of the resort, we are going to have to take a little bit of a walk. So I'm not going to film this entire walk, but I'll show you where the end point is. There is an elevator right across the way. I don't know if you can see it right there. There's the elevator bank, or you can take the stairs. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That's also stairs. The elevators are in the center. So you would have to walk to the end of this walkway, go down into the center, and that is where the elevators are. So not super central. So like I said, if you were to walk down this walkway, make a left, the elevator banks will be in the center. I'm choosing to take the stairs, so I'm going to the opposite direction, which is actually going to overlook the pool on the right hand side. Because we're going to the stairs. Sorry, all of a sudden I forgot where I'm going. So you can see the tower is right there. So now these would be considered preferred view because technically you do have a view. But this is still considered preferred room. So Casitas is building 1, 2, 3, and 4, which I don't find 4 to be super preferred, but hey, this is one of the private pools. There is no lifeguard on duty, and this is between building 4 and 3. We'll continue to make our way down the stairs. So it's convenient though in building 4 you will have elevator, ice, vending, pool, and laundry. So there is a lot in this particular area, plus you have that bus stop. Now, if you look straight ahead, you're going to see Three Bridges Bar. That's kind of centrally located to the centrally located to the entire property, and then you're going to see the tower. So we are, depending on where you're looking, we are either to the right or to the left. So you have your signs right here, shows you Casitas 2. The dig site pool is the main pool, and then you have Ranchos and Cabanas. So Ranchos and Cabanas are going to go Ranchos next to Casitas, then Cabanas on the other side of the tower. Which I will say, I feel like those buildings and Ranchos are not as modern. So you may want to take consideration that it's not super appealing, but there is a bus stop and you are near the main dig pool over in Ranchos. The property is very quiet. You have lots of beautiful gardens. It is a beautiful property. We're passing Casitas 3, and you are close to the Epcot Resort area. So you will have people here that are on a work trip or just visiting for some sort of convention. It's near the El Centro, so they do have a business center. Here is the map. So right now we are here. We are trying to get to El Centro so that we can go to the quick service, get some breakfast and coffee. As you can see, the dig site is closest to Ranchos. Then you have Cabanas. Then you have the Destino Tower, Convention Center, and then back over here to Casitas. So we're passing Casitas building number 3 still. Again, Casitas building number 1, 2, and 3 are not as close to the bus. Well, 3 is, because 4 is where the bus depot is. So if you're staying in Casitas 1 or 2, you're close to El Centro, which is great. So you're going to have to either use the Tower bus stop, or you're going to have to walk to Casitas 4, which would be stop number 2, to access that bus. So that could be a little bit of a pain in the neck. And again, 3 bridges in the center, so you can see that there's 3 bridges literally that connects to the center. They do offer quick service, or not quick service, I'm so sorry. They offer mobile ordering at the Lagos, and they aren't open usually till later though, so you need to check your app to see what their times are. Which is the prettiest of all the buildings, because you do have a lot of the architecture and the lighting and the little, not ponds, but you know, like, yeah, I guess you could call them fountains. Sorry folks, it's early, I haven't had my coffee yet, but I'll just pop over here so you can take a look inside the courtyard of Casitas 1. So I find that this area is much prettier to look at versus Ranchos. Ranchos, I walked by and it really didn't leave much to be desired. And then they do have a covered walkway from El Centro to the building. Now, you can try, if it's raining, you can try to stay covered going from building to building. I did encounter that. There were some spots where I needed to break out, and I did get a little wet, but it wasn't a problem. Bridges being in the center is that if you are in those buildings on the opposite side of the bridge, you can use this bridge as a cut through, so you don't have to walk through the entire resort to get to the main building or El Centro. They have plenty of outdoor seating, whether it be tables, chairs, loungers. Because this is a convention resort, you have a lot of people taking advantage of those chairs and loungers because it's beautiful. So now we are passing Maya Grill on the right to get into the quick service. This restaurant is open in the evening. And the El Mercado is going to be your quick service location. They have grab and go. They have different stations for things. I'm gonna try to attempt to grab some breakfast this morning. Plenty of seating, and just across from the Mercado is Rick's Sports Bar and Grill, where you will be able to sit down, but you do need a reservation. The Mercado is the convention center, like I said, Rick's, and then if you just keep going down this little hallway, you're gonna see like a little Rick's coffee bakery shop to the right, and then Panchito's gift shop is also to the right once you see this fountain. I'm actually gonna walk from the back end of the resort past the tower on my right so that you can see the dig pool and also the Cabanas buildings. So now you can see back, there's 3 bridges. Casitas is across the way. This is El Centro. And now we're going to be coming up to the tower at the back end. Some of your resort activities, you have Spanish mosaic art, which does come at a cost. Sangria University, that's at a cost. Movie Under the Stars. You have the pools, Nature Walk Fitness Center. They have a light the night glow party at the Dig Pool, which is Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 8:30 to 9:30. That actually seems fun. Alright, so here we are approaching the back of the main building. Well, actually the tower. Technically it is the main building. The tower is very, very convenient, and I will get into the differences of staying in the tower and staying in Casitas, because I really have thoughts, especially since I typically only stay in the tower. So you'll have to stick around to the end to hear what I have to say. It's so beautiful back here. Again, more lounge, relax areas, because it is a convention resort and they are used to people just hanging out in between conventions. Going to take you over to the Cabanas. I love that they have sandy beaches around these lake sort of areas, so you do get to hang out in a hammock. But as you can see, this is where the Cabanas would technically start. And we're going to go straight toward the dig site. That is the main pool. I made the mistake of getting off on bus stop 4, and I was dropped off over here. And I can be honest with you guys, I was so annoyed because I was freezing. I mean, is it an easy walk? Yes. Did I want to do it late at night after leaving a park? No. We are in front of the Cabanas buildings. You can see 3 bridges in the center, and you can see Casitas right straight across the water. We're going to cross this little bridge and head over to the dig site. Typical standard buildings, because they are a little bit away from everything, and you know, the view is kind of average, but this would be your standard area. They do have their own bus stop, which is convenient, so you do not have to walk to a main bus stop. And so now we're coming up this little path. Now straight. We can see it full on. There's some beautiful wildlife in the pond. I don't know if you can see this black crane or whatever it is, but it's beautiful. And now we're approaching the dig site, which I don't believe is going to be open at the moment. They are doing some maintenance. And I would go over there, but I can't, so hopefully they have another entrance on the other side. And again, 3 bridges with a convenient bridge dead center. So that's really nice that you can cross that bridge right from Ranchos over to El Centro. So we are entering into the dig site pool area. They do have a pool bar. They have plenty of seating. The pool opens at 10, closes at 11. There is a little hot tub. You have a volleyball court, and we have the siesta cantina. And then the kids' playground is behind those ladies standing right there. And we're gonna head back toward Casitas. Ranchos is a little out of the ways as well, but they do have their own bus stop, so no worries. You're not going to have to worry about going up to the front to get a bus. It's, to my opinion, I think Ranchos is probably the furthest from El Centro. Beautiful to walk on. It's a really, really beautiful resort to just walk around, relax, get out of the parks. So you're definitely not going to feel like you're at Walt Disney World, which I think is the point. So we're looking back out at Casitas from Ranchos now. Ranchos gives off major Southwest Arizona, the stones. It's just really, really beautiful. Like just really beautiful, really quiet back here. I'll have to see if they have a pool when I look back at the map, but just to give you an idea, very secluded, very quiet. And now we are going to cross this little bridge and head back over toward Casitas. But let's just see. Actually, there's a map right here. Let's see if they do have a pool. Looks like they have two pools. They have one up here and one down here. So that's Ranchos. Cabanas does have their own pool as well as Casitas has their own pool. And then you have the main pool, which is the dig site. We're approaching Casitas. And then they even have picnic baskets out here, or picnic tables, which I didn't know, so that's nice. So this is building Casitas 5. So this is the furthest of all the Casitas buildings. Again, you would still use bus stop 2. For Ranchos, you would use bus stop 3, and for Cabanas, you would use bus stop 4. Has more of an upscale feel to it. Definitely just has all the vibes. And then you have the view, of course. So any of these rooms that are facing this tower would be considered a preferred view. And we are approaching my building, Casitas 4. The walking tour portion. If you want to hear my pros and cons of staying in the tower and also staying in Casitas building 4, I'd love for you to stick around. I'll be able to do that a little bit later when I'm back home, because for right now, I have a flight to catch. So I will see you soon. This is the room in Casitas. I did take a video when I first came in, but I always like to show the room after I've used it. There is a lot of space in this room. I had 2 windows because I am on the corner. The rooms do feel a little more deluxe-ish, but I can't say that the bed feels deluxe, especially in Casitas. I want to say Tower has a better mattress, but the room setup is practically the same. There's a ton of storage in the bathroom. There's, well, what I just actually noticed, there's this to extend a little bit of, not closet space, but so you can hang some stuff up. Always comes with an extra pillow and blanket in here. But yeah, there's a lot of storage, top, bottom, and then obviously the separate bathroom. This drove me crazy, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Anyhow, double queen beds. There are fans in here, but I will say my air conditioning was not working very well. Plus, it went from hot to cold while I was here. So this is just a glimpse of the room itself. This is technically a standard view room, but this is the view. And then, like I said, I overlook the buses. So right now I have Bell Services coming on a cart to come and grab me and my luggage. You do not have to walk with your luggage back up to guest services. They will, or not guest services, but the main tower, because that's where I'm going to catch my lift. And yeah, so here we go. This was my standard room in Casitas, building 4. If you have any questions, let me know.
All right, so I am back home. It's been about a month. I figured I'll put some Disney ears on. I'm shooting this from my iPhone because I just want to quickly add this to the end of the vlog. I wanted to quickly give you my pros and cons of Coronado, the villages, technically now is what they're called. This wasn't my best stay at this resort. Now, I generally stay at the tower whenever I'm traveling to Disney for quick trips or on solo trips, because I feel like the tower definitely gives me more of a deluxe stay, but I'm not paying the deluxe price, especially when I'm traveling by myself and I'm paying the full cost. I had a lot of issues with the bus. So if you go back and watch my March series, you'll hear me complaining numerously about how many times I waited at Casitas 1 for that bus. It was an hour one time that I waited. When I have stayed in the tower, I've never had an issue with the bus. And it's not like the bus system is different. It's just, I've never had an issue. I would walk out of the tower, and granted, that would be the last stop at the tower to pick people up. So you wouldn't always have as many seats. I think that's the last one. Yeah, because Casitas is 1. So the tower would be the last stop, but it's the first drop off when, I think it's the first one. Forgive me, I can't remember, but I can just tell you I did not have an issue with the buses when I have stayed in the tower. I had a really big issue, and I get this. Disney is trying to protect its guests, but generally I have taken an Uber or a Lyft. Typically when I'm in Disney, I just use Lyft. I have taken it to the particular area I've stayed in at a Disney resort, and I was not aware that you are not allowed to take a Lyft or an Uber. You could only get dropped off at the main building. Well, it was right after Flower and Garden. I was exhausted. It was pouring rain. I had a really bad headache. I just really wanted to get back to the resort and just get into my room. So I had them go to the gate, because the last time I stayed there, I was dropped off at Casitas. I was picked up. It was not an issue. So I went and scanned my Magic Band, and my Magic Band wouldn't scan. So I'm like, okay. So I called down to the desk or security, and he was so rude. He was so rude. Needless to say, he would not open up the gate. Regardless if I was staying there, it didn't matter. Told me that I had to physically go out and direct traffic behind my Lyft to help my Lyft driver move out of the way so that we could, back the car up. And I've never in my life had to do something like that. I called down to complain. I said, even if this is a rule, which I'm okay with there being rules, even if this is a rule, couldn't he have just said, we're not allowed to do this, but I get the predicament. What's your room number? What's your phone number? But whatever you got to do to validate me, and then open the dang gate and let me in. Sorry. So anyways, I was really upset about the buses, and then my fan in my room, I don't know what was wrong with that fan, but every single night that fan would turn on, even if the wind blew weird. It would turn on and it would wake me up, and I would have both doors shut. I was sleepless, like literally sleepless because of that fan, and it was so loud. Now, I am not one to complain. If I can get by, I will get by. Then the coffee maker was broken. I tried to use the coffee maker. It didn't work. There were numerous upon numerous things that were just bothering me about this stay. And it's not that it's Coronado's fault, because I've had many beautiful stays at Coronado. It's just this particular stay was not the best for me. And I don't know if it's because I was in the villages and not the tower, because I do prefer to stay in the tower. I just feel safer. I love the convenience of just having the elevator and going right out the front door. That's just my preference. Casitas 4 is a little further away, as I explained in the walking tour. So I felt like while it was centrally located for what it was. It was by the buses. It was, by a pool. That was all fine. Don't get me wrong. That was all fine. So if you are going to stay at Coronado, I wouldn't let this deter you from staying at Coronado. I would never say don't ever stay somewhere because I had a bad experience. I would always tell you, keep it in the back of your head, maybe plan ahead. But don't ever just listen to somebody on the internet that says, oh, this was terrible, this is awful, because you'll go back in my videos and I will tell you I had wonderful stays at Coronado, but it was the tower. And the lesson learned, I will probably only stay at the tower. So having said that, I'm going to end the vlog. I hope you enjoyed this little walking tour. If you have any questions, please comment down below. but I just appreciate your help on this channel. Give this video a like, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe, and do all the things.